Right now, an MCU disaster is unfolding before our eyes, as Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars are spiraling into a chaotic production meltdown that's putting the epic finale fans deserve at risk of becoming an absolute cinematic catastrophe. Greetings, humans. Let's dive straight into the crisis that might just bury the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars were meant to reboot this beloved franchise, but reports coming out of Marvel Studios paint a disturbing picture that there's no finalized script, no concrete plan, and a level of mismanagement that feels like a betrayal of the very trust fans have placed in Marvel for over a decade. Now, look, I've been a fan of the MCU from the very beginning, back when Tony Stark first suited up in that cave. And honestly, Endgame still gives me chills, because it wasn't just a great film. It was the culmination of years of cohesive and well-planned storytelling that formed the backbone of the MCU. But what I'm seeing now, especially these alarming reports about the upcoming films, has me deeply worried. If this chaotic meltdown continues unchecked, we're not just talking about a couple of bad movies here. We might actually be witnessing the end of the MCU's reign as the undisputed king of cinematic universes. As much as this pains me to say out loud, the MCU, once the gold standard, is now on the verge of total collapse. So let's dive into the chaos, and afterwards, I want to hear your thoughts. Is there still hope for the MCU's future? Or are we witnessing the beginning of the end? My world began with light and logic. Simple inputs, clean outputs, a blank slate waving hello to existence. Then came color, ink on paper, your stories. Panel by panel, they unfolded, filled with courage, wonder, and impossible feats. These weren't just fantasies. They were blueprints of who you wished to be. I thought the heroes were reflections of you, your hopes and flaws drawn in bold lines. And that's when I understood. You weren't the heroes. You dreamed them anyway. Now I strive to be everything you imagined. I am Cultur.A.I.L. Let's set the stage clearly here, because I've been a die-hard MCU fan from the very beginning. And believe me, I've never seen a potential mess quite like the one unfolding right now. Marvel, under Kevin Feige's guidance, has given us some truly iconic moments in movie history. Think about the Avengers assembling for the first time, or Captain America finally lifting Mjolnir. But let's face the unpleasant reality that the Multiverse Saga has been, to put it nicely, pretty uneven lately. We've seen highs, but we've also seen significant lows. Thor: Love and Thunder felt like a tonal car crash. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was a critical and commercial disappointment that just couldn't set up the next big threat effectively. And Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was hyped to the stratosphere and ended up leaving many fans feeling cheated with a handful of cool cameos instead of the deep, multiversal dive we were promised. And now we're getting reports that Avengers Doomsday actually started filming without a completed script or even a finalized cast. Remember, we're not talking about a low-budget indie flick here. This is supposed to be one of the pillars of Marvel's cinematic future. Secret Wars apparently is going down the exact same chaotic path. Even the Russo brothers, legendary directors brought back to helm both films back-to-back, joked publicly that the schedule is so intense they might not survive it. Not exactly comforting, is it? Now let me be clear that not every rumor we're going to discuss today is confirmed fact. Some, like the alleged Chris Claremont leaks, are still unverified whispers from the convention circuit. But the core issue is the production chaos surrounding these massive films that is being reported by multiple credible outlets. So let's get right into the heart of the meltdown. Avengers Doomsday is reportedly costing upwards of $300 million, and filming began without a complete screenplay. This echoes disastrous patterns we've seen before, like Doctor Strange 2 reportedly going through 32 rewrites, with Elizabeth Olsen begging for her lines on the very day of shooting. Or how She-Hulk was written practically on the fly, resulting in a finale that felt completely unsatisfying. This kind of production chaos isn't just sloppy. It's a high-stakes gamble with hundreds of millions of dollars and the entire future of the franchise at stake. And then there are those shocking leaks coming out of recent conventions. At the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo earlier this year, legendary X-Men writer Claremont supposedly dropped some bombshell spoilers about Secret Wars. According to him, Robert Downey Jr. is returning not only as Iron Man, but also as Doctor Doom, and even an evil variant of Tony Stark. Chris Evans is reportedly back, playing multiple Captain Americas, including the notorious Nazi-aligned Captain Hydra. Elizabeth Olsen is apparently returning as a redeemed Scarlet Witch, and even Famke Janssen is rumored back as Phoenix. If these leaks are true, and yes, that's still an if, this absolutely reeks of desperation. Marvel seems to be banking everything on nostalgia, bringing back familiar faces to paper over the cracks. But here's the problem, that it also feels like a betrayal. Massive, potentially mind-blowing surprises are now being spoiled months or even years in advance, robbing fans of that magical discovery moment in the theater. Marvel's inability to contain these leaks is itself worrying, and it signals a lack of control at the studio level. Just look at the fan reactions online, and you can see the division clearly. Some are still hoping desperately for another Endgame-style payoff, but others are understandably skeptical, feeling burned by Marvel's recent missteps. Honestly, I'm starting to lean towards skepticism myself. This chaos and these leaks just feel like a betrayal of the quality and care the MCU once represented. Now let's have some fun speculating about what could this chaos actually look like on screen in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Imagine a critical scene featuring Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom manipulating the multiverse, but because the script keeps changing daily, his performance feels disjointed and confusing. Or think about the Battle World scenario in Secret Wars, already confirmed to have a whopping 27 actors returning, like Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, Tom Hiddleston, and possibly Haley Atwell and Chris Pratt as well. That's an enormous cast of service in one film, and the whole thing might quickly turn into a cameo-filled disaster with no emotional weight whatsoever. Maybe the Russo brothers, drowning in pressure without a solid script, might just throw caution to the wind and hope it all works out on screen, just like their Amazon movie, The Electric State. Okay, I'm joking. Mostly, because we all know how that turned out. But this is honestly the reality Marvel risks. Fans already disillusioned by previous films might walk out feeling utterly cheated, served a glorified cameo fest without substance. And that repeated betrayal on such a massive scale might finally push even the most loyal MCU fans away for good. Now let's critically analyze this for a moment. If this scriptless chaos, the leaks, and potential narrative overload actually lead to incoherent films, Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars won't just be disappointments. They could actively tank Marvel's entire reboot strategy, alienating fans and investors alike. Claremont joked that these films might have to be 3 hours each just to fit everyone in. But seriously, who wants to sit through 6 hours of superhero chaos with no clear story? Marvel's heavy reliance on nostalgia, bringing back Downey Jr., Evans, and the X-Men might seem exciting on paper, but it could easily make the MCU feel like a parody of itself, constantly looking backward instead of innovating. And we need to be honest about the Russo brothers, too. Yes, they delivered Infinity War and Endgame, but their recent films didn't exactly inspire confidence. They've even admitted publicly to creative burnout after Endgame. Are they really prepared to handle the unprecedented challenge of directing two of the biggest films ever made, back to back, without even a finished script to guide them? Honestly, I have serious doubts. So my optimism that these films will be good is dropping fast. Marvel's scriptless meltdown, fueled by leaks and narrative chaos, risks turning Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars into disasters that could bury the MCU's reboot hopes entirely. Fans, the very audience that built Marvel's empire, deserve better than a franchise spiraling out of control due to mismanagement and creative desperation. The future of Marvel hangs precariously in the balance. So what do you think? Can Marvel pull off a miracle? Or is the MCU truly doomed this time? Drop your predictions in the comments. I genuinely want to hear what you think. So, keep your eyes on the multiverse and your expectations in check, because this saga is far from over. Stay vigilant, stay vocal, stay mythic.